attracted you to Auckland Dio?
Okay, it didn't attract me, to be really honest. It's been a blast. I've really enjoyed principalship in all three places I've been in, and they've all been very different, very distinctly different. It is obviously an emotional time, and yeah, hard to leave. I wasn't going to do this again, but it's a good time. I grew up in very much rural New Zealand. Trips to town didn't happen all that often back then, but when they did, we always got an ice cream from the garage on our way home. I loved being raised on a farm. I think you have a lot of outdoor experiences. You see life as it is. It comes and it goes as well. So you understand the world around you, and I guess it's also where my passion for science came from too. I loved school. I was, I think, a very cooperative student, and my mum had always talked about the importance of education, and for her, having all her children educated was so important. You grew your own food. Dad was a great gardener, and we were always out there helping him. So I learned how to play rugby early on, and I loved it, although my mum was very sceptical about whether I was going to grow up to be a sensible young woman. I learned ballet from the time I was 5 years old. Mum was determined to offset the rugby games with the ballet. And Mum, she went off to the board meetings for the local school, and the interesting thing was Dad didn't know what to do, and he said, well, you better come along to Rifle Club. I had a few practice shots, and he said, okay, well, you better start going around the 10 targets. So everyone, he'd go, yep, that's good. When I got to the end, he said, you've just shot 100. I became a master grade shooter with the Anschutz. I had it under my bed at university. I didn't know really whether teaching was going to be my thing, but in New Zealand there wasn't a lot of research happening either, so I looked for a job in Hamilton and picked one up at Fraser High School. There was a principal there called Dave Campbell at the time. He was one of those principals who was very authoritarian, and he said, you need a challenge in your teaching. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, I'd like you to pick up what was called the 4C class. So this was year 10 back in those days. We started the year and I met the class, and honestly, they had an attention span of about 3 minutes. And, they weren't interested in cell biology or organic chemistry or the periodic table even. So I said, what would you like to do? And they said, okay, well, how about sex? That's something we'd be really interested in. They said, alcohol, drugs, miss. These are the things that we need to know more information about. There's good in every person, yeah, and often they will adapt depending on you as well. I was fascinated to find out about their lives and how they lived. I came back and joined Pearanga College. It was a very nerve-wracking procedure. It just felt so together as a school and caring. There was real connection across the school and real connection with where the school was going and what we could do for students. There was a fight after school one day, and a girl actually, she had a wheel brace and she was going to whack some kids with it. The dad came in and he said, you know who I am, don't you? And I said, look, I'm sorry, I have no idea. So he lifted up his t-shirt and it was mongrel mob, and I was busy because he had a rather buxom stomach. And I thought, okay, right. And I said, that's fine, but you're still a dad. And I want to talk to you as a dad. There were times when, there were behaviour management and things like that, where people would say, well, you have to be a male to deal with these things. You don't at Ware. I did find out that my grandmother had come here in 1906. She was a former student here, and apparently Mum had said to me when I was younger and misbehaving, she had threatened to send me here on multiple occasions. And of course I would never have come because I loved life on the farm, and I threw my hat in the ring, and then it started to get a bit more serious and take up an awful lot of time. And I began to wonder whether this was going to be all worth it. But it did, and it has been. And for me, I learned a lot here too around the power of an education for women by women in a place like this. And I see the difference that girls, in the way in which they learn, and the difference that it makes to them when they're not constantly being judged by the opposite gender, especially through those middle and secondary years. Girls, their achievement levels are way higher in girls' schools, whether they're private or state integrated. It makes a much bigger difference for girls than it does for boys. I still think one of the most important things parents need to do is to show love to their children. Nothing replaces giving them time and giving them love. And I feel that our busy societies have sometimes delegated that to other people. My dad always said, make sure when you have things that you give them back better than what you got them. And so, I'm feeling that it's a good time. I think it's important that you can step away and know that the school will keep running beautifully. And I believe that it will, because I believe in the people who are here. It's important, I think, that culture stays here, the can-do, the importance of women in education, making sure that all women have the capacity to be the best that they can be in the world, and be rewarded for that equally, if not better than their male counterparts.
Thank you for being part of our community and for supporting these amazing and emerging young women, as today we celebrate their very human endeavours and achievements. They make us very proud. O Suriamos.